Hi, I'm Kate, editor at Omnium Gatherum. In April 2014, we are open for submissions. On our guidelines page, you'll notice that we ask for standard manuscript formatting. And there's a list of the requirements there. I'm finding that some people are having some problems understanding why these are important, so I thought I would show you. Here we go. Let's pretend this is a 100,000 word manuscript that came in through submissions. I like the story, we're going to publish it. Looks pretty good. Margins are 1 inch all the way around. The font is easy to read. It's double spaced. Paragraphs are indented. Everything looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and format this as a book. Should be an easy job. First step is to strip out everything that you don't see in a book. So first thing, I'll take out the headers. And in this case, the headers are not inside the space where they should be. They have been manually typed on every page. Please don't do that. It's not a huge job on 3 pages, but on 300, that header is going to have to be deleted manually over and over and over, and something like that might make me reconsider whether or not I wanted to publish something. That's a very time-consuming job. Story would have to be especially great to go through a tedious chore like removing all the headers. Next step would be to remove the contact info. Don't skip that step. It's very important. I always copy and paste that into my address book. Next, we would go through and format all of the this would be the book title, and in a long work we'd also have chapter headings, so I would go through and format all of the chapter headings. Another thing about the headers is that as soon as you delete something, they switch around on the page and you can lose them, so don't do that. Okay, and now we're ready to format the text. Select all of the text and click on the style to format all at once. That should have formatted the entire manuscript to the specifications that I use for books. In this case, I think I see some problems. We have a mysterious space here. The indents seem to be all over the place. Some are larger than others. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. I've zoomed in so that we can see what some of the problems are. Right up here at the top, you'll see this little backward P. It's called a pilcrow. When you click on it, it will show you all the hidden characters in your document. This is a really good way to find problems. And I see a few. A long time ago, when manuscripts were typed on typewriters, every time you got to the end of a line, you would hit the return. There are a few people out there who still do that, so stop it. It causes an awful lot of formatting trouble. You'll see it looks like this first paragraph is a block quote, and that is because the author has hit the enter key every time he got to the end of a line of text instead of letting it flow naturally. This is a very common one. You'll notice that the indent here looks especially large, and the reason for that is this tab character, after I formatted, when I click the body text button, that indents 0.25, and the tab indents an additional 0.25, so we have twice as much indent as we need. I'll need to go through and take out all of those tabs. Lucky for me, I can do that with a search and replace. I'd rather not, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But there's no reason that you can't do a search and replace before you send it to me. Another interesting thing that people do to indent the paragraphs is using the space bar. When you hit the space bar, it makes those little dots there, and 5 of them normally is what people use to indent. Please don't do that, because sometimes you use 4 and sometimes you use 6, and it's not a huge deal on a few pages, but once it gets into lots and lots of pages and many thousands of words, this can be a real chore to get rid of all of the spaced indents. So we don't want to use those either. That's starting to look better. Things are lining up. When you write for the internet, spacing between paragraphs is common. It's not in a manuscript that you're submitting to a publisher. And those are also tedious to get rid of. There is a search and replace option for it, but it's difficult to, you have to look at every one to make sure it's the right thing to do. Can take an awfully long time. So no spaces between paragraphs. You'll also see here that this is something that's also a leftover from typing. It is the 2 spaces after a period. You can get rid of those pretty easily by doing a search. Open your search window up, hit the space bar twice, then find and delete all, takes them all out in one step. It's great. I can do it. You might as well do it before the manuscript even gets to me. I'd also like to explain how to indent paragraphs using style sheets instead of tabs. Normally, when you open a Word document and begin to type, you are using the normal style sheet. I've switched over to my own custom style set, so I'm going to switch back to the normal one and show you what's probably on your computer. And to get to that, you click on this right here, and then click on Change Styles, and you'll see a heading for Style Sets. You'll probably be on the default one. Yes, and so you'll use the normal style, and if your normal style doesn't indent paragraphs, I'll show you how to create a preset so that you don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm using Microsoft Word 2010. Microsoft 2007 steps are pretty similar. I've looked at the Microsoft Word 2013. It's got a similar process, a little bit different, but not too much. This should make sense to you. I apologize if you're on a Mac, but I think many of the steps are very similar. You can also use OpenOffice, which is now LibreOffice. It's a free software. Steps are a little bit different, but similar. And someday maybe I will go through and create a video showing how to do that. Microsoft Word is the standard. It's come down a lot in price lately, and If you're serious about writing, you might want to consider just spending the $100 to get the software, or signing up for the monthly service of I believe it's $10 a month, and you have unlimited use to all the Office program suites. It really helps, especially during editing, if everyone's using the same program, so that we can track changes and share notes right in the document. So this is how you can easily set up a style sheet so you can submit according to publishers' guidelines. You'll notice that on this normal document, there's a space between paragraphs and there's no indent. Changing the normal template can cause Microsoft Word to act a little wonky. So it's maybe better to create a new one and just leave the normal template alone. And to do that, you would highlight your paragraph, and you want to make all the changes, and then we'll save it as a style. So right click and get to it here. We would want to change to Times New Roman. That's a good one. And make sure it's probably 12-point font. And now we want to adjust the paragraph settings. We'll go to paragraph. Okay, and in the paragraph, we want to make sure the alignment is left. And you have some other choices there. Let's make sure this is left for the main body of the text. And in the outline, we want this to show up as body text. You could have different headings as in an outline. Usually you want to have your title as level 1, or chapter headings as level 2, maybe your subheadings as level 3. But for the main body of the text, we'll go with body text. The indentation, this gives us some different options. This on the left here is for something like a block quote. If you want the entire paragraph indented, you would choose this, and it would scoot the entire paragraph over. So that isn't what we want to do right now. That's handy if you want to create another style for block quotes. But for the main paragraph, all we want is the first sentence indented. So we go over here to Special. It's right here next to the left and right indents. And we click the drop down, choose first line, and it automatically filled in exactly what we want, 0.5. That's the good standard, a standard indent. Okay, and here in the next section we have spacing, and you'll see that there are 10 points in 12-point font. 12 points equals 1 line. So this is almost a line between paragraphs. We don't want that. We want no spacing between the paragraph. So we set this to 0. And it's set to double spacing. That's what we want. There are some other options. 1.5. When I'm formatting a book, I choose a custom setting that's not quite double spaced, but a little bit more than single spaced, so it's easy on the eyes. But for now, we'll leave this at double. Click OK. So here we have a paragraph formatted to the guidelines, and we are going to rename this up here in this little down pointing arrow at the very corner of the styles windows, click on this, and we have the option to save the selection as a new quick style. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to ask us to name this style. I'm going to call this body formatting. You may find that the name you choose is used for a preloaded style. If a little window pops up and says this one's already taken, choose another name for your style, and that should solve it. Click OK, and now you will see body formatting right up here in the window. And your next paragraph down here, highlight your paragraph, click on body formatting, and it looks beautiful. You can also choose select all for the whole document. Click on body formatting. Everything is formatted as body text. You would probably go back then and apply a title to your title. Go through and look at each of your headings. Format those as you like. Usually same Times New Roman font, just bolded a little larger for chapter headings and subheadings. And there you have a nice and easy way to format your documents. Thanks.